This is Jarrod Horak for the runawayhorse.com, and now that all the Kentucky Derby points races have been run, we're going to do my annual video that I always do, the top 5 most likely Kentucky Derby winners. But before we do that, now for the Derby videos, I covered 30 of the prep races. I had 10 top choices finish first, 3 second, and 7 more finished third. So 20 of my 30 top choices finished in the top 3. And with my 10 winners, I had a positive return on investment. So let's see if we can now point out hopefully one of the most likely Derby winners. And then when I do my final Derby video and give out my top choice, let's hope we can get the job done there as well. Now, every year I sell Churchill Downs full card Kentucky Derby Day at the runawayhorse.com. So if you're interested in that, it will be available Kentucky Derby week over at the runawayhorse.com on my sales page. You can jump over there and get that product if you're interested in that. It's going to be covering extensive coverage of the Kentucky Derby in that full card, plus all the points, all the races that they run that day at Churchill Downs, plus pick 4, pick 5, pick 6 tickets. But now we're going to jump into my top 5 most likely winners, and my top 5, it's coming from my Kentucky Derby blog, which I've been covering since last year. Every year I cover the Kentucky Derby blog. I do my exceptional 11 contenders after all the points races. And now, after all the points races have run now, these are my final top 5. Now, in case one of these horses don't run, like for instance, last year, I shot that video early as well last year, and then some of the horses didn't run in the race. And then, so hopefully that will happen this year, and my top 5 will all be able to compete in the Kentucky Derby. So horses that just quite didn't make the cut, if one of these horses scratches, so these would be my next contenders. My number 7 contender was highly motivated for trainer Chad Brown. He was second in the Bluegrass Stakes. Now he's one that I'm just not sure that he really wants to go a mile and a quarter. He got loose in the Bluegrass, but he couldn't hold off a Central Quality. But he ran a quality race that day, and he's one that's obviously a forwardly placed factor in the Derby. Number 6 on my list, Midnight Bourbon, just missed the top 5. He's one that I always liked him, even going back to his 2-year-old season. Nice pedigree here. Tis Now, the sire. Malibu Moon, the dam sire. Steve Asmussen, the trainer. He had a bullet workout at Churchill Downs on April 11th. And he's been doing well this year. His speed figures have improved from age 2 to 3. He won the Lecomte Stakes, and then he was able to hit the board in the Risen Star Stakes, and then in the Louisiana Derby. I'm just concerned he's a bit one-paced, and he's not going to be able to outkick the others, but he's going to be forwardly placed. So now we'll get to my top 5 most likely Derby winners, beginning with number 5. And number 5 on my list, Medina Spirit for trainer Bob Baffert. Now this one does not have a flashy pedigree. Protonico is the sire, Brilliant Speed, the dam sire, and they only paid $35,000 for this one. So this isn't your typical Bob Baffert expensive purchase that was bred to win the Kentucky Derby. This one's an overachiever, more like horses like Cavanier, when Baffert ran Cavanier in the Derby and he just missed. And even Silver Charm. The Silver Charm did win the Derby, but he was just an overachiever, and he really tried hard all the time. And Medina Spirit fits that mold, that Cavanier, Silver Charm mold. He broke his his career debut in a sprint, and then they stretched him out after that, and he's run well in all of his starts. He's run now 5 times with 2 wins in 3 seconds, and he's just hanging in there throughout. He was second in the Sham Stakes, Getting to Life is Good, back in January. In the Robert Lewis Stakes, he was able to get out there and control the pace, turned back several challenges and won by a neck. And then in the San Felipe Stakes, again, Life is Good ran away with that one, his stablemate. And then he was a distant second, but a clear second. And then in the Santa Anita Derby, Rock Your World set the pace and went all the way. And Medina Spirit stalked wide. He was second best. So Medina Spirit's one. He's just going to keep coming after you. He's never going to give up. And for a race like the Kentucky Derby, he's just going to be right there in the stretch. And if he's right there and he has a shot to win, he's going to fight hard all the way to the wire. Coming in at number 4 on my Kentucky Derby list, Rock Your World for trainer John Sadler. Now this is one, he has a lot of upside. He's only run 3 times, and he's won all 3 of those races. But he's one that's an unraced 2-year-old. Now, it was a long stretch. I think it was at least like 136 years that we did not have an unraced 2-year-old win the Kentucky Derby until Justified did it, and then he won the Triple Crown. But we haven't had any since Justified do it, and then it was 136 years prior to Justify. So that's a long time there, and that could still be a strong angle. And for Rock Your World, he broke his maiden in a turf sprint on January 1st at Santa Anita. And then they stretched him out in the Pasadena Stakes on turf in his second career start, and he tracked the pace and he won that one nicely. Then in the Santa Anita Derby, they switched him over to the main track. Now, Life is Good was the clear divisional leader in Southern California, and when he scratched and he got injured and he couldn't run in the Santa Anita Derby, Rock Your World and John Sadler, they thought, well, it was a good chance to take a shot and maybe qualify for the Derby, and they did just that. He was able to get out there, control the pace, and he just kept on going in a sharp victory. His biggest things, his inexperience. No races as a 2-year-old, and he's only raced 3 times. And he did go wire to wire last time. If he's challenged early and he has to overcome anything, we'll have to see if he can do that. But obviously a lot of raw talent here, and he's one of the horses that's most likely to win the Kentucky Derby this year, and it is a wide open Derby this year. Coming in at number 3 on my list, Known Agenda for trainer Todd Pletcher. Another one with a strong pedigree. Now, Rock Your World had Candy Ride as the sire, Empire Maker as the dam sire. Strong pedigree there. I mentioned that Medina Spirit had more of a low-profile pedigree, but Known Agenda is another one with a long-distance pedigree. Curlin, the sire. Byron from Great Britain, the dam sire. So this one has a lot of turf stamina on the dam side, and then Curlin on the sire side. Bred to run all day, and he's one that was one that I liked early on in his career, but then he was able to, he disappointed, and then he was able to bounce back and run well with the addition of blinkers in his last couple. Now, I had him in the Remsen Stakes, and it was a wet track that day, and he ended up a distant 3rd. And then in his first start as a 3-year-old in the Sam F. Davis Stakes, I picked him that day as well, but he ended up falling far back, and he just never could make an impact. And that wasn't a particularly strong race, and it was very disappointing because he looked much better than those horses on paper, but he just didn't run his race. Then Todd Pletcher dropped him into an allowance race at Gulfstream Park at 1 1/8, put blinkers on, showed much better tactical speed, and he ran away with that race by more than 11 lengths. So then he was my second choice in the Florida Derby behind Greatest Honor. And he defeated Greatest Honor in the Florida Derby. Again, he was able to get the better trip. He was able to stalk the pace, move out, run down the leaders, and get the jump on Greatest Honor that day. So Known Agenda now, with the blinkers, has much better tactical speed, that strong long-distance pedigree. Todd Pletcher is the trainer on this one, and he's won the Kentucky Derby 2 times. So Known Agenda looks like a solid threat in the Derby, maybe even a bigger threat in the Belmont. So I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't win the Derby. He skips the Preakness, he runs in the Belmont, and maybe he wins the Belmont, but he is a Derby contender as well. Coming in at number 2 on my list, Hot Rod Charlie. This one is a son of Oxbow. Indian Charlie is the dam sire. The trainer, Doug O'Neill, and Doug O'Neill has won the Kentucky Derby 2 times with I'll Have Another and Nyquist. And they have similar patterns to Hot Rod Charlie, whereas I'll Have Another, during his 3-year-old season, he only raced 2 times. He won the Robert Lewis Stakes. He won the Santa Anita Derby. So he won the Robert Lewis in February, came back and won the Santa Anita Derby in April. And then Nyquist, he started in the San Vicente at 7 furlongs in his first 3-year-old start in February, and then he came back in April and he won the Florida Derby, and then he won the Kentucky Derby. Now, Hot Rod Charlie, he's run 2 times this year. So he has that same 2-race pattern. His first start was in the Robert Lewis Stakes, and in that Robert Lewis Stakes, he wasn't able to get to Medina Spirit, but he ran a good race from off the pace, and he was 3rd, only beating the neck. Then they shipped him to Fairgrounds last time, and Fairgrounds in the Louisiana Derby, he was able to get out there, control the pace, and Hot Rod Charlie was able to wire the field, and he looked good in that race. Now, he's really turned it around, going back to his maiden win about 4 starts back when he put blinkers on. And when he put blinkers on and he moved to the main track around 2 turns, that was the key to Hot Rod Charlie's success, because he was able to break his maiden, and then after that, he was 2nd from the outside post in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and then his efforts in the Robert Lewis Stakes I mentioned, and the Louisiana Derby as well. So he's versatile. He's been able to go to the front, press the pace. He can rally like he did in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. So Hot Rod Charlie, much improved, and he's my second most likely winner. He's number 2 on my list. Finally, my number 1, and the horse that's always been number 1 on my list, and if you watched my videos, you know I've liked this horse for quite some time, Essential Quality. It's a 2-year-old champion. Now, I was on him way back at the beginning. In each of my videos that I covered for the Derby points races that he was in, I picked him on top, and he was able to win all of them. In his second career start in the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland, he won that one as my top choice. That was a nice effort that day. He was pressing a slow pace, and he was able to push on. I made him my top choice in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. The pace was fast. He rallied from well off the pace to win that race. He made his first start as a 3-year-old in the Southwest Stakes at Oaklawn Park. And in that race, he was able to stalk wide on a wet track, and he pulled away and won easily. And then last time out, again, I made him my top choice in the Bluegrass Stakes, and he came through for me for the 4th time. And in that Bluegrass, again, the pace was slow, more like the Breeders' Futurity. I'm highly motivated with setting the pace that day. Essential Quality tracked the pace, and he was eventually able to wear that one down late and win nicely in the Bluegrass Stakes. So Essential Quality, he can handle a wet track. He can win from anywhere on the racetrack, kind of like Hot Rod Charlie. So that versatility is important. Where they're going to be able to work out a good trip. If the pace is slow, he can get up there like he has been doing, and like he did last time. If the pace is fast, like it was in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, he can rally from further back. So Essential Quality, Tappet the sire, Elusive Quality, the dam sire. Brad Cox is the trainer. He hasn't won the Derby yet. But if you see my top 5 here, Doug O'Neill, as I said, he was the trainer on Hot Rod Charlie. He's won a couple Derbies. Ty Pletcher's won a couple Derbies. Obviously, Bob Baffert from Medina Spirit. He's won the Derby 6 times. So for my top 5, it's that combination of the good connections, the horses that have at least some tactical speed and the ability to get into the race and put themselves in a position to win the Kentucky Derby. So those are my top 5 most likely Kentucky Derbies for the most likely winners for the 2021 Kentucky Derby. Again, go back over my top 5. Number 5, Medina Spirit. Number 4, Rock Your World. Number 3, Known Agenda. Number 2, Hot Rod Charlie. And then my most likely Kentucky Derby winner is your 2-year-old champion, Essential Quality. So like, subscribe, and comment. And I know we're probably going to get some comments on who you think is your choice for the Kentucky Derby this year. But I'm going to do my Derby video, Derby week. After they draw the post positions, I'll come back. I'll cover the field. I'll give out my top choice. And again, if you're interested in my Derby full card, you can find that over at therunawayhorse.com. That will wrap up this week's video. I'll be back next week to look at some more Kentucky Derby contenders.